Hello, I am live again, still alive. There was a song. Well, as you can see, I'm all buzzed, and I typically don't really go for the whole, hog's butt do. But in this particular case, I did just because it would be longer until the next one. So, I'm kind of suffering through a few days of fuzzy to get back to merely short. Okay, so the interesting thing that came to my mind had to do with a conversation with my daughter, who a bit ago was saying that, well, our conversations are so, informational or so good, according to her, that she wanted me to be her teacher and wanted to know why her teachers taught boring things. And at first I started making the usual excuses you do for school. And then I said, well, what are some things you have been learning? And it was awesome. I mean, I'm like, what are you talking about? These are great. So, one thing that she talked about was advertising and commercials. And first, I'll tell you the thing that they did in school, which was they watched. I think this is part of a larger curriculum about advertising. And anyway, so they watched this mock commercial in which the structure was very much like you find in many either beauty products or hygiene products, health products, or personal care, I should say, products, which is mainly couched as romance. The person has a visible positive romantic encounter upon using or in association with using this product, like a nice date or walking in and her friends are there and there's a guy, or meeting at the door, right? There's the date, looking not only charming but charmed, of either gender. For what I'm talking about. Usually, it could be toothpaste, could be commercial for shampoo, it could be any number of things. Well, so this commercial had the same structure, and the product is a bucket of boogers. So the whole thing was about how I mean, it ends actually with the couple like dipping into the bucket of boogers and like eating them and like being so charmed and happy to be together. The lesson, of course, is clear and very, very sound and quite fun. She and I got to talk a whole lot about that. For those of you who don't know, my career as an evolutionary biologist is marked by some very ambitious course design. I'll go into one of them sometime if anyone's interested, regarding movies. No, it wasn't. Oh, look at the science in the movie. It's wrong. It's right. No, no, you can find that anywhere. This was different. But one of the things that I focused on as an exercise early in the course was to address commercials as mini movies. As any filmmaker, TV person will tell you, commercials are taken very seriously as mini movies and often regarded as the best possible movies. And so, technically, structurally, in terms of impact, all kinds of things. So we talked about that. We carried on with the conversation. And one thing that I pointed out was that now you're going to quibble. Hey, what about? Listen, I heard all the what abouts. Okay. They're all just footnotes to what I'm about to tell you. The basic notion that stories are conflict driven is sound. Again, all your little objections. I know. What I'm talking about is, the basic notion that you induce the awareness of a particular conflict. You can just show it. You can imply it. You can show its solution, and it's such a familiar kind of problem that showing the solution implies the problem without having to spell it out, all kinds of ways. But anyway, so I used to talk about this with my students, and one of the interesting things that I had happened upon, you've probably found a collection of these on the internet. If you haven't, this is one of the few things that I will say the internet will educate you. This is good. Collections of commercials that are very, very good, but were not ultimately aired. They were produced and were like that far from being actually shown, and then they were pulled at the last minute or close. And there's a very, very good reason They're too good. They're too good as movies and not quite enough as advertisement. The product is not married to the resolution. So, whether they show this or that about the story or whatever, it's not the point. The point is that whatever it is, it's quite good. It's very interesting. It's very engaging, but only as itself. When they show the product, it doesn't quite work, or maybe it works, but it takes a little too much processing to work or something. So it's a really, really good case study or a bracket, right? Here's this one concept, which is that they show the product and they honk about the product and they wave the product and they jump up and down about the product, but there's not enough movie there. That's one kind of bad commercial. And then you have this zone in which the commercials are solid and then cheesy, whatever, I don't care, but solid. And then the bracket after that, which is what I'm talking about, which is where the commercial has gone past the product and is too good. I'll tell you a couple. Of one anyway, and then I'll make my other point, which is finally about Scandinavian commercials, okay? And un-US commercials in general, but Scandinavian ones too. So anyway, I'm getting somewhere. So the one I'm thinking of that I love showing the students, and you'll probably find it. I mean, it's just too good not to live forever on the internet. Oh, I hate to give it away. All right, I'm going to do it. There is, because there's 100 other ones, right? This is one of them. I'm not giving away too much. I just love this one. All right. I believe that it is British. And the commercial takes place in one of these enormous apartment buildings that faces another apartment building across the street. And it shows a woman getting up in the wee hours of the morning, and she's still sleepy, and she's got her robe, housecoat on. She's, hair sticking up, and she's obviously just blearily just waking up, shuffling into the kitchen, and she's got the coffee cup. I'm wrong. The coffee pot, and she turns on the water, and sticks the thing, and you see the water, going into the pot. It's clear at the bottom, and she's sort of standing there in a daze, and of course the window's right there, so she's looking out the window just because that's where her face is pointed. And therefore, you can, when the camera cuts across the street, it's very clear that it's following her gaze, right? So far. Across the way, in some apartment that's visible to her, there is a man who is full-fleshed, and he is he is vacuuming his apartment. He is wearing nothing but a Speedo type underwear with a leopard spot pattern or tiger stripe pattern, a feline pattern of some kind, and is wearing big old headphones as well. He's not wearing anything else, and he's vacuuming, and he's obviously listening to music that he enjoys very much because he is just dancing up a storm as he vacuums, and he is obviously having a great time. And he is, as I say, a full figure of a man, and the physical spectacle is, astounding. Then we cut back to her, and of course we see that she's a lot more awake now, and she's going like this out the window, and then it cuts brilliantly to the coffee pot, which he is still holding under the running water. And of course it's overflowing and has clearly been overflowing for, a short time. And then the commercial finishes, and it's actually for, I believe, prescription spectacles, eyeglasses. And it says, if you have to see it clearly, and gives a little logo. So you can see the difficulty of this as a commercial, because you've probably been misled into thinking that this is a coffee commercial. Or really, because she's not wearing glasses. There's no indication that she needs glasses. That's just not in the story. So therefore, it is coming out. The joke's hilarious. You get it after, but you haven't been set up for it. But the story's great. You're just like, wow. I want to see the movie this is part of. This is fantastic. So Anyway, what this leads to, I told Annika about this and how the stories and product kind of inter as not really connected and how it can go off the rails in either direction. And it was a really good conversation. And it got me to thinking more about some of the advertising that you get exposed to when you are not, from around here. Now, the difficult thing, of course, TV has changed. I mean, I don't watch television with commercials. In fact, I haven't for a super, super long time. But upon watching more television over the last decade or so, as have we all, there aren't commercials of that kind. And our kids, of course, have no idea what, the commercials coming up. I think if we see a show like that and they do come up, the kids are like, what's that? Well, anyway, so I don't see them particularly, but I've seen a few, and advertising, is around. So, for example, I'm thinking that, see, because I don't watch much TV with commercials, therefore I have to go by visual media, static media, around. Here's my favorite one from right here in Motor Shopping. It is a billboard, and it was at the parking lot by Spirolin. And so this is a big old billboard, right, over a parking lot. This is not like a little teeny one or something by the side of an ordinary one by the side of the road. It's this big thing. And it is a beautiful Nordic mountain scene with the mountains in the background, and it's brilliant sun, clearly, midsummer. And it's a field of flowers and foliage, and it's just this gorgeous panorama, long focus shot across this field, the mountains in the distance. And in the mid-range of the image, so a little further set into the image from you, there are two legs sticking up out of the plants, and they are a woman's legs, and they are angled. And so the logo there is for it says something like "live life," or "live life all the way," or "to the fullest," or "go for it," that kind of logo. And in the corner, it's for birth control. So this is a great advertisement. I mean, I love telling people about it. Back in the States, people are like, their jaws drop and they're like, "Wow, man, that's great. How come we can't have ads like that?" I concur. You should. Those are cool. If you're going to have advertisements, like the other commercial, right? If you have to have advertisements, do that. Well, anyway, I'm pretty sure most of you have seen. If you haven't, okay, this is one of those guilty recommendations. I'm not sure it's an actual recommendation so much as if I have to see that, then you have to see it, which is I think it's from the Czech Republic, where it's a ketchup commercial, which basically involves a young man informing a young woman, and they are in private, a technique that he seeks. And he informs her that she should be treating this activity regarding a bottle of ketchup. She does.